did evacuate yesterday is actor James Woods, who is in Beverly Hills. Thank you for joining us. Talk to us. What have you seen?
Well, we were literally in the exact epicenter of the fire as it started. That's actually a view from my porch.
Yep,
that's the house
you
one
shot.
below us
Yep.
on fire. Yeah. My neighbor called and he said a fellow named Robert Trinkteller was about 5 houses up. You have to understand the Palisades is almost like an old-fashioned neighborhood. Sidewalks, all the neighbors know each other. We all have each other's phone numbers, and people are very aware that we're in a fire zone. And in fact, I had said day before yesterday, to my wife, Sarah.
Welcome on into another episode of the Healthy Discussion Show. So now we're going to do a recap of what's going on in California as far as the wildfire, and we're going to hear it from the celebrity perspective. But before I get into this, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video. Most importantly, send prayers up to California. Also hit the AirTag EMF. I'm gonna pin it to the top of the chat. That's how you support the channel. But let's dive into the story.
There, I said, "Oh, that guy on the hillside hasn't cut down his grass. They got to cut down that brush because there's going to be a fire." And that's the person who didn't cut that brush was the person, that fire you're looking at right now. That's my pool right there. That was the brush below us that was not cut. So we went out. I had a record of the call. In 17 minutes later, we were evacuated with the clothes on our back. Our garage door wouldn't open because the wind was so bright it torqued the door, and we finally got out. When we got to the bottom of the hill, I said, "Oh my God, we have a neighbor who's 94 years old who has dementia." And I said, there were no cars on the driveway, and we would go over and help him get in his chair, sometime if he fell with the caregiver. But I knew he was in the hospital, and I don't know, God was on his side. I decided to call his son in Massachusetts and said, "Hey, Francis, just to be sure, your dad's still in the hospital, right?" He said, "No, he got home last night. And there's a new caregiver, and I don't have the number." And they wouldn't let us back up. So I finally got through to 911 and said, a welfare check, you got to.
Now, this story might come off a bit emotional, right? But you got to understand, people's lives were on the line. Yes, it was a rich and wealthy neighborhood, and some people are saying, well, some people deserve those type of things. Now, I don't wish death upon anyone, right? So at the same time, safety is the number one thing. You got elderly people that they need community. They need the community in order to help them regardless, right? Because eventually, if you're young, you're going to become old, or you should want to live to see yourself becoming old. That's the point of it, right? So I don't understand the rhetoric of, well, they're rich and they should be okay. It's a lot of other people that's going through this and going through that. No, it shouldn't be like that. Now, because you got to think about it like this. All those materialistic things that they do have, can they take it with them? All those vanities, right? Which this is what the culture celebrates, vanity and materialistic things, right? But what happens when all of those things are caught on fire? Like, this can be the cleansers of California, because fire generally clean things. It's a cleansing of the state, no matter how horrific this may be. But let's continue. Leave your thoughts down below. What do you think about those comments of people saying, well, the people in Palestine, they're amongst the wealthy and they have done wicked things. And since they have done wicked things, this is kind of like karma coming back. Leave your thoughts down below about that perspective.
Go check on this guy. Well, there was a miscommunication, and I called my neighbor who hadn't evacuated yet. He was on his roof, fighting his fire. He'd been on my roof. He'd hosed my roof down. I said, "Go in and check on him." He went. He said, "The door's open. There's nobody here." He went in and yelled. He said, "No, nobody here." I said, "Look, just go behind the pantry. There's a little room. We can see him during the day. He likes to sit there because there's a garden." He went in and found him. He'd been left alone. Okay. And it turned out the fire department made the new caregiver leave. And she just does what she was told. They said, we're coming back for him. Well, they hadn't come back for him. I'm hoping that they would have. But, there was so much chaos. It was like an inferno. Every house was.
Imagine if your parents were there, right? You got to put yourself in other people's shoe. And they have caring neighbors. But how many people you think that don't have caring neighbors, that didn't have caring neighbors? Or how many people y'all believe that was still stuck and left in the house? Because it's the side effect of the fires burning. It's chaos. The firefighters can't put every fire out. They're having a hard time. There's no water there. That's another thing. So the governor, what is the California governor doing? Where's the money going? No one seems to have an answer. In a time of need, where they need water in California, is all water damn near. Why wasn't these lines designed to take on something like this? Why? Why didn't they water the soil, water the ground beforehand? Instead of having a dry heat, dry desert, which is automatically flammable. But let's continue.
On fire around us. And, he got him out and the house burned down about an hour later. He would have been in there alone. It was just. And then Robert called us and told us that house had gone and the house below that and then the house on the other side. And then at 11:49 last night, all the smoke alarms in our house alerted our phones that our house that we had just renovated for 3 years and had just finally moved into about 3 months ago. All the smoke alarms are going off, so that's hardly a good sign. So I'm not sure, but it wouldn't make any difference because the whole street's burned down. So
imagine building your dream house, and it took years to build it, right? And in one day, your dream house is destroyed. That's what it's a saying that goes, it's hard to build, but it's even easier to destroy. And this goes to be correct. Leave your thoughts down below.
I mean, even if you go back to your home, look, we knew what was coming. And when we were out on our driveway, I looked and the smoke was so black. It was a house across the street was on fire. The house next door was on fire. And all the black smoke was down there and the schools are down there. And I said to Sarah, we can't go down there because they're trying to evacuate the schools and we'll just be in the way. And here's the thing that's so important. People have got to evacuate when they tell you to evacuate. Yeah. Because if you don't evacuate and you think you're going to be out there with your little garden hose, stopping a conflagration with flames 80 feet high in 90-mile-an-hour winds, you're not going to be helping. You're just going to be stopping the firefighters who do such an amazing job.
Well said.
And you've got to be out of the way, man. You've just got to get out of the way and let them do their jobs.
And prayer goes up for those firefighters that are doing their job. They need a salary increase. They just need a lot of things because they're putting their life on the line for these type of things. That's why he begun to tear up because of that too. Because how many firefighters' life was lost trying to save someone else's life? Though that's what they're signed up for. But at the end of the day, it's still some form of humanity. So how many firefighters y'all think that lost their life during this California fire?
And yes, maybe your home's going to burn down, but let me tell you what's more important than your home is your 94-year-old neighbor and your fellow across the street who's trying to help you, and all the friends and family who've been calling all day. And yes, we're safe. And yes, I think everybody on our street survived, although I can't get a hold of Robert. And I called a friend of mine who lived in Malibu, in Mandeville Canyon, and she had called me, are you okay? And I said, yeah, you got to get out of there, girl. She said, oh, well, we're miles from you. I said, but we're packed. We're ready because people who live in fire zones are ready. You got to be ready to go. And as ready as we were, everything I own is in this room. Every single thing that I own is in this room. We got a basket of laundry, glasses.
It goes to show right? We celebrate vanity too much. We celebrate materialistic too much, though we are in the materialistic realm. But we value those things over people, over community, over helping each other. Right? Do you know the homeless rate in California? Why is that? So some people say some people set this on fire. Some people say that it's aliens. I just believe that sometimes it's God. God is like, look, let's clean this mess up because it's so many unrighteous things that goes on in California or just in demonic places that it's time to rinse and wash your hands. That's what I personally believe. You know, it's time, and it's biblical. It's time where they say, look, you got to use nature, which is earth, wind, fire, water, all of those elements, the natural elements, to actually cleanse the land. And fire is part of the cleansing.
Pills and the keys to our car. And that's it.
I just can't stop also thinking about your neighbor, and if you hadn't intervened, what would have happened?
I mean, how about Robert, who in the middle, the house was on fire next door. Our deck was on fire, and the guy ran into the house and got it. I was just blessed that God said, hey, call his son and just be sure.
Yeah.
And his son didn't know about it because then the fire, he's, oh my God, and he's trying to get out here and there's no flights. And then we couldn't find him because he has dementia. So they put him in a hospital somewhere. And then he called me at 2:00 this morning, said I found him because I said, go to St. John's. He'll probably be there. And we were able to track when Robert had texted me so that we knew. But by the way, I'm sure the paramedics are coming back for him. It wasn't like they said, oh, we're going to just leave this guy here. So I want to make that clear. It was just a matter of timing. And the poor caregiver, I'm sure, was doing exactly what she was ordered to do. It was just one of those scary things. I mean, look, you can't imagine how great the Los Angeles Fire Department and the Los Angeles Police Department and the Sheriff's Department and the DWP, these people are out there fighting men. That's I'm standing in my driveway. See that flame? Mm-hmm. I'm standing in my driveway looking up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the planes were going over and it was like.
And what were you thinking as you're out there shooting this right outside of your home? I mean, what's going through your mind?
And this is what I didn't also get, and this is what I didn't respect. Now, you got these people trying to evacuate and these people trying to leave. While the news media, right, the legacy media, they're in the way trying to do an interview when there's burning fire outside. Hey, what are you guys doing? How many horses did you end up freeing? They trying to get so much coverage, right? That instead of helping these people, they're trying to just get the coverage. Now, I understand that we must see what's going on, but at the same time, they have phones, they have cameras. A lot of people already know what's going on. I just find that to be like, in the time of danger, why do people just pull out their phones? Like, are we conditioned to do that? In the time of danger, the first thing someone's going to do is pay attention. Instead of saying, look, let me go help the individual because we all are one, no matter what. Let's figure out a way to help. It's more like, let's figure out a way how to go viral. Let's figure out a way how to put this on the screen. Let's figure out a way how to monetize this instead of saying, look, the money you can't take with you too. And this is a reminder. You can't take your house with you, your cars with you, your cash with you, nothing with you. You have to leave everything behind. God does a wonderful job of reminding people, just in case you forgot. He does an awesome job of reminding people. You can't take it with you. So I just don't get these channels that instead of them trying to help the people, one more person helping another person is even better. They're trying to get this on live camera, live footage. To me, that was a bit disgusting. It wasn't honorable. But let's continue.
Your mind.
You know what I was thinking?
What?
I'll tell you what I was thinking. I'm from Rhode Island, And a friend of mine was the guy who did all the remediation for the. You remember the station fire where 100 people burned to death in a nightclub fire?
Mm-hmm.
And this is true. There were people in the doorway who had tried to get out, and there were people who were literally 2 feet in the pile of bodies who got out and survived by being debris, and the other people next to them died. And all I remember thinking is, man, when I was a kid, our house burned down when I was 6 years old. It goes up in seconds, not hours, not yay, and let's get that picture that Uncle Tina, Aunt Tina sent us of the kid. Get out of the house, get in the car, get out of the way, and let them do their job. Your house will go up like a matchbook.
And that's true. And one thing I could say, right, even when they say state of emergency or anything along that nature, it's time to evacuate. Why do people think that they're heroes? Like they could go against nature. Oh, I'm going to stay. I'm going to ride the flood out. Oh, I'm going to stay. I'm going to ride this hurricane out. They already said to leave the state. Oh, no, I'm going to stay. I'm going to defend the fire. I was looking at TikTok the other day and just scrolling because we're going to scroll this part of the show too, right? So we can have the real take on these stories, right? And people had their dogs and their animals and all of that, breathing in that the air that's the low quality air that's no good. Basically, you have smoke in your lungs, which can cause other things in the future, like asthma, cancer, anything along that nature. When you have bad air or air that's not so qualified, right? Things come with that. It's a side effect. It's a big side effect that comes with that. So let's continue.
Because it sounds like
we were.
Oh, go ahead.
And let's just weave it in for a second, right? Saying it all to say, evacuate when it's time to evacuate. I totally 100% agree with what he's saying. When they say evacuate, don't try to be the hero, especially with things you cannot control, which is nature. No one can control nature. They can influence it. They can make things start and maybe try to make things end, but at the same time, you're going against a force, and a force that's greater than the force that you're applying. So let's continue.
Yeah, I was just going to say, know your neighbors, have a plan.
True.
I mean, thank God our neighbors, Havisa, Robert, Stephanie across the street, Francis next door. All our neighbors are all checking with each other. Are you out? Are you safe? Are your pets out? Everybody was taking care of everybody. We were on the roof of our house before the fire. We thought it wasn't going to be this bigger fire. You always worried about embers. There was a fellow up the street who's working on the house. And I said, "Hey, man, would you come on our roof and help us? I'll pay you." You don't have to pay me, man. He was one of the workers, and he did it. And I insisted, take something. And no, it's just wanted to help.
What is cash going to do in that situation? It's about safety first.
Help, man. It's just people helping people. But
yeah.
I mean, our beautiful little house. It's like we've been in a hotel all through COVID. This lovely hotel. People are so great. Take care of us yesterday. And we were fixing our house and we finally had it done, and we were swimming every day, and my blood pressure was going down, and if you ever saw the views from that house before this fire, they were just, it was, I posted it today on X. It was paradise, and our neighbors are, we knew them all, and now it's all.
Yeah, it's a reminder anything can be just taken away
in a fraction of a second. But now it's time to scroll, right? It's the next part of the show where we scroll. So let's scroll. Let's see what the internet is saying. Let's see what the internet is saying, because I wanted to cover up the fact that how State Farm, right? Can you guys see the screen? Excellent. How did State Farm, prior to all of this, 3 months, because these companies have the data, right? The data points, right? Why did they change their fire clause? So now all these homes burnt down, where they gonna go? We're not going to give them any money to rebuild their homes. They still have to play. They still have to pay property taxes. Then what's going to happen when, just like it's another fire, and I might cover that too as well, in Ghana, the whole market has been set on fire for some apparent reason. So now what are these people going to sell for some type of income? Because that's what they do. And I look at it like this is an opportunity for people to rebuy these lands. It's the same thing that happened in Maui. This is an opportunity for you to buy someone else's tragedy. Is it going to be worth it? Because I see the play. Through the smoke screen, I see the play. But let's continue.
One of the costliest in U.S. history, with losses already expected to rise above $135 billion. The blaze continues to rip through some of America's most expensive properties.
Y'all hear that? $135 billion. So after the aftermath of this, someone's going to start buying up these lands, buying up these plots. That's all I'm saying. Watch what's going to happen. It's like they do the same thing over and over and over and over again. Check out Maui, check out Ghana, check out all these places that was burnt down and or natural disaster. What happened when they reshuffled the land, reshuffled the property, reshuffled the development? Now people got to come in and actually develop once again all of California. So who would then benefit from that? I hope it ain't Governor Newsom. I hope it ain't Governor Newsom, because he's doing a horrible job there. Horrible.
Are on track to be one of the costliest in U.S. history, with losses already expected to rise above $135 billion. The blaze continues to rip through some of America's most expensive properties, including the homes of Hollywood celebs like Paris Hilton, who lost her $8.4 million house, and Miles Teller's $7.5 million dream home. Meteorologists are forecasting that the raging wildfires will also have long-term effects on health and tourism in the state.
Right.
The LA wildfires are on track to be one of the costliest in U.S. history, with losses already expected.
Insurance in California is horrifying.
As wildfires continue to rage in California, one estimate says the insured losses are already at least $20 billion. In Altadena, Dustin and Aaron Rubin say they were.
Y'all think they're going to pay out $20 billion? Do y'all believe that they're going to pay out $20 billion? I don't believe so. I don't think so.
Dropped from another insurance company last year. It was only last month they finally found a company that would give them coverage. 7 of California's top 12 home insurers either paused or limited policies over the last 2 years. State Farm, which has 21% of the market share in the state, announced in March it was making the difficult but necessary decisions that would mean not renewing 30,000 home policies in the state, ending 69% of its policies in the now devastated Pacific Palisades. More and more Californians are turning to the state-created insurance provider of last resort called Fair Plan, a temporary safety net offering basic coverage when people can't get insured through private companies, with enrollment in home policies surging 123% in the past 4 years. Ricardo Lara is California's insurance commissioner.
Once people submit their claims, when should they expect to see the money?
So it all depends. I know it's difficult and a difficult answer. I want to make sure that we get it as quickly as possible. Weeks, if not a month.
Experts say those who have suffered a loss.
What are they going to do? Where are they going to go? Because experts know that. Because experts say a lot of things.
From the wildfires should keep track of all expenditures, start going through photos and videos that can be used as evidence to show what was in the home, and document everything.
Insurance in California is horrible.
So much for the Golden State.
My thing is, what about North Carolina and what about Florida? These people still down there have not recovered at all.
From the Pacific Coast Highway to Malibu,
companies are done.
Wildfires continue to ravage America's wealthiest state. Inland, Altadena, near the Eaton fire, is the same.
We have 0% containment. We have over 879 firefighting personnel assigned.
Wildfires fanned by climate breakdown, which is making large parts of some of America's most desirable zip codes uninsurable. Some of the country's largest commercial insurance providers are pulling out of fire zones like Palisades. California's insurer of last resort is called FAIR.
And Palisades, all of Palisades is burnt down. All of Palisades is burnt down. Could you believe all of Palisades is burned down? I had to say it because some type of lagging was going on, but all of Palisades is burned down.
Which is now the only option for thousands of homeowners and businesses. FAIR says it has nearly $37 billion of exposure across Southern California alone. Industry analysts fear losses from these fires will be between $6 and $13 billion. But last summer, FAIR acknowledged they only have about $385 million in reserves to pay for claims. To cover that huge gap, the cost of insurance for everyone will inevitably go up.
The math ain't mathing. The overhead is too high. The profit margin is slim. I see why they pulled out.
And it's not just wildfires. Insured losses from natural disasters across the USA are skyrocketing.
Right.
2009 to 2016, losses generally stayed well under $60 billion a year. But 2017 to 23, it's only dropped below 60 billion once. 2025, what used to be some of LA's most expensive homes. What a start to the year.
But what happened there, I don't think there's anything that I've ever seen quite like it. And the insurance companies are going to have a big problem because you're talking about big, big dollars.
But could it become Trump's problem? Motto, drill, baby, drill. A California Senate's Budget Committee report published only last month was titled, "The Climate-Driven Insurance Crisis is Here and Getting Worse." Remember the financial crisis of 2008? The report warns it could happen again, urging huge reductions in carbon pollution. The impact of climate breakdown is increasingly being felt by the wealthy as well as the poor. From hurricane-prone Palm Beach in the east, which happens to be MAGA central, to liberal California on the west.
We woke up in the morning and our house, which is near the beach, just smelled of smoke.
Geopolitics analyst Sean West had to evacuate his Santa Monica home. Do you think the...
What I don't get is, it's so much water by California. California, right, has the most spectacular beachfront that you can imagine. I'm talking about in all over, all up and down the coast. You can literally go beach hopping up and down the coast. I've done it before in California. There's water right there. So why aren't there water in these hydrants? I hate to be a conspiracy theorist, but where is the water when you need it? And there's so much water right there. I don't understand it. I don't know if this is premeditated. I don't know. Maybe they want these things to happen. I don't know. Maybe that their infrastructure, which most of American infrastructure, those pipes that's underneath ground. Just in Virginia the other day, when they had a storm and it was below 30 something degrees, right? It was freezing. Pipes burst. It's like this is happening everywhere, not just California, not just Florida, not just North Carolina. You have Virginia. It's all over the United States as if it's so biblical, as if this is considered Babylon. Leave your thoughts down below. Let's go.
The fires in California might have any impact on the president's energy and, more importantly, climate change policies.
I think the president's energy and climate change policies are pretty well fixed, and he campaigned on being very pro-drilling, very pro-fossil fuels, very ESG. I don't think this environmental catastrophe, any more than the hurricanes that we experience and things like that, even if the frequency of these events we can acknowledge is happening more frequently, I think the political views on it are fixed.
Meanwhile, fires and hurricanes mean more and more wealthy Americans, not just in California, but in Republican Texas and Florida too, are finding their premiums spiral out of reach. People.
And you have to have insurance in order to have a home. So imagine if your insurance is more than your actual property and your mortgage because of these things. And then they still don't cover everything because natural disaster is going to go up in 2025. It's a lot that's going to happen in 2025. I could see it. I could feel it. It's all in the air. The writing is on the wall. Look how we starting out. I wonder how we're going to finish. And I'm not spreading fear. We're just spreading awareness here. You know? It's whatever's in God's plan. We're just spreading awareness here. But let's continue. On to the next video.
So wildfire insurance has been a major topic of conversation with these Los Angeles fires. And the reason is many of the people who have lost their homes don't have fire insurance because they were either refused coverage or it was just simply too expensive. Now it's a problem. This is set to be the most costly wildfire in U.S. history. Current estimates put the insured loss at $10 to $20 billion. Unfortunately, tens of billions of dollars more is likely uninsured. And of course, that figure is continuing to grow day by day. And by the way, I'm talking about homeowners and renters as well. Now, why? Some of the biggest names in insurance, Allstate, Nationwide, Travelers, they've either refused to write any new policies or they've canceled existing policies. Some companies have left the state of California altogether, and wildfire risk was a big driver. Now, State Farm, for example, they dropped 72,000 policies in California last year. Now, there is the Last Resort California Fair Plan. As of September, their exposure to the Pacific Palisades area, one of the big fire areas, was $5.9 billion. In the event that plan can't cover those losses, private insurers are required to step in, pick up the difference, but they can pass that cost on to customers by raising premiums. Now, there is legislation that would require any insurance provider operating in California to offer.
So they say never let any tragedy go to waste, right? Or any crisis. So if you was in the market, and that financial advice, but I got to put that down. Hold on. Set a reminder to invest in insurance companies and do option calls because the premiums will go up. If y'all just heard what I just said, not financial advice. Allstate, Travelers, State Farm. Since prices is going to go up, I probably got to look at the stock market now to see if they tank a little bit because, of course, they go through the humiliation phase first, and then they bounce back, and then they surpass where they normally was. Not financial advice. But this is maybe how you can make your money in order to pay these high premiums. I'm just saying. You got to work with what you can work with.
Wildfire insurance, but that's in review for now, and it's not a help to those currently dealing with uninsured loss.
Damn.
So wildfire.
State Farm canceled almost all of their homeowners insurance policies right before the fires hit. They pulled coverage on 1,600 policies after a record-breaking summer. They labeled this area as just too high risk. State Farm announced that their number one priority right now are the safety of their customers and their employees. JP Morgan's estimating the damage to be over $10 billion. Not only that, getting insurance in the future in these areas is almost impossible. State Farm canceled almost all of their home.
State Farm is there, unless you live in California where they cancel your insurance. 72,000 policies, 30,000 homeowners canceled as of July 3rd. Just in time for the California wildfires, one of the worst in California history, as firefighters struggle to fight fires after Mayor Karen Bass cut their budget by $23 million. As fire hydrants are struggling to keep water due to reservoir shortages. When asked to comment, Karen Bass couldn't be reached because she was out of the country in Africa on a taxpayer trip for the inauguration of the president of Ghana. What the hell is she doing out of the state on taxpayer dime, let alone out of the country? God bless the firefighters and everyone. State Farm.
And it's funny. It's funny. They talking about the governor went to Ghana. Y'all know what just happened in Ghana? Ghana just had the same fire that they had in California. Ghana had the exact same fire. So hold on. Something not making sense. Let me repeat what he just said. We're gonna run him back real quick. Listen.
Is there, unless you live in California where they cancel your insurance.
Listen.
72,000 policies, 30,000 homeowners canceled as of July 3rd.
Listen.
Just in time for the California wildfires, one of the worst in California history, as firefighters struggle to fight fires after Mayor Karen Bass cut their budget by $23 million. As fire hydrants are struggling to keep water due to reservoir shortages. When asked to comment, Karen Bass couldn't be reached because she was out of the country in Africa on a taxpayer trip for the inauguration of the president of Ghana. What the hell is she doing out of the state on taxpayer dime, let alone out of the country? God bless the firefighters and everyone.
Now, let's go to a video of Karen Bass because she made. Let's go to a video of Karen Bass, right? Because people are asking her questions. People are asking her questions. And she. Let's see what she have to say about these things. Let's share the screen in a few. Let me stop sharing that screen first, right? And then we can get back to that. I'm gonna stop sharing that screen first, and we're gonna get back to that, right? But Karen Bass, you was just in Ghana, and Ghana just had a fire. I'm gonna play that video next.
That's right.
Let me know if y'all can see it. This is her right there. You can't really hear the question that they asking, but
I'm going to answer that in part, but then of course I'm going to defer to our police
Bass.
chief that we have been fortunate with mutual aid, with support coming from basically all over the country. And in fact, I was with the governor earlier. Canada is sending support. And I think that we have seen this. We have certainly seen Los Angeles City and County firefighters deployed around the country. Let me acknowledge Freddie Escobar, who is the head of the firefighter union. So just as we have provided mutual aid, I'm getting calls from some of my former colleagues in Congress who are now governors of state who have offered to send people. So I think we have been rich in support. I don't know if we ever have enough resources, but Chief, let you take it from there.
How are your firefighters holding up? Everyone has been flooding our social media and email and phones saying how wonderful our firefighters are.
All right, so that's Karen Bass right there, right? Let's stop sharing the screen because Ghana just had a wildfire as well, and I wanted to show you guys that. So let's look at two more. Let's look and see what Kamala Harris have to say about this. Because they still are considered the president of the United States.
Companies have canceled insurance for a lot of the families who have been affected and will be affected, which is only going to delay or place an added burden on their ability to recover. And I think that is an important point that must be raised. And hopefully there can be some way to address that issue, because these families, so many of them, otherwise will not have the resources to recover in any meaningful way.
Right.
This might be a hot take, but your insurance company should not be able to drop you in the middle of a natural disaster. And that's just my opinion on that. You done paid your premiums up, and some of y'all, your rates have gone up. You paid that, no problem. The moment a natural disaster happens, the moment your house gets flooded out, the moment
nowhere to be found,
your house catches on fire, to no fault of your own, all of a sudden they can drop you. That's insane. That should be an immediate lawsuit. And the
That's
crazy
illegal.
part about it is these situations are what create homelessness, displacement, things like that. They have nowhere to go, right? You don't have the funds to get your house fixed. That's why you have homeowners insurance. That's why you have some people have renters insurance, right? So they can get the house rebuilt, things of that nature. And watching like State Farm do this is insane. I think that's absolutely insane.
I
And I
agree.
think that should be a lawsuit. That's just me. They're able to take your money, but they can't help you. That's insane.
And there's no insurance, right?
No insurance. No. We had no insurance.
Because you got dropped. So, Rick, you've heard this story, and you're going to hear a lot of them now. So these are people who, as you're hearing, would check to check. They got dropped by State Farm. As far as Chad has been able to tell me, they didn't get alerted by the state or their agent or any. And there's no insurance, right?
That's
no
crazy.
insurance. No.
State Farm Insurance dropped thousands of California homeowners from their insurance policies before the fires. Now, let me tell you, I refuse to use State Farm because they wouldn't insure me as a young driver just because I was young. So I'm an Allstate girl through and through. But what they're doing to these homeowners should be illegal. At least 4,000 policies were dropped by State Farm in the exact neighborhoods that were literally leveled by these fires. Get this, since 2019, State Farm has dropped 100,000 California homeowners policies. Last year alone, they dropped 72,000. And in recent months, they've dropped at least 4,000 homeowners from their insurance policies. Can you imagine? I just saw one lady post a video saying that her parents, who are in their 90s, have lived in their home since the 1970s and have been with State Farm the entire time, and they dropped them from their policy. That should be.
Man. That's
State Farm is canceling the insurance policy for people affected by the fires.
All right, so you know what I wanted to do? Let's go to the fire in Ghana. Fire in the Ghana market. Y'all pay attention to this one.
Yeah, our hard.
So guys, I don't know where you're watching me from, guys.
Listen.
Today is on the 2nd of January 2025, and this is the current situation of Kantamanto markets. We woke up this morning and Charlie, everywhere has gone down by flames. People's goods and services are all gone, and it's very sad. I don't even know what to say right now. Kantamanto is gone. Kantamanto is totally gone. The whole market has been.
Y'all know when y'all send y'all clothes overseas, most of it go to Ghana, and then they get the clothes and then they redistribute the clothes and or sell it, or to put some type of money in their pocket, right? It's a foreign thing, so excuse me. So saying it all to say, what's going on in this world?
Brought down to nothing, and as you can see behind me, the fire is still blazing.
Oh my God, this is Accra, Ghana. Market Square, Katamantu, burned to ashes. 2nd January.
Well, I wanted to give you guys a clip of what's going on in Ghana as well. This was on the 2nd. Now, what happened in Cali was on the 9th. The 10th is going to be hectic. The 19th, the inauguration going to be hectic as well. We don't know what's going to happen, right? All I'm saying is that keep your prayers up for everyone. Love on each other, help each other out, because we all that we have, obviously. On that note, peace, blessings, and love. And remember, positivity